Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Because we met at the environment. Good. When I was yes. And you saw the fire, Daddy. I saw the fire. You saw the fire, officer. Well done. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Exactly. Yeah, that is a good one. That is a good one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Your own topic.
Topic, yeah. And it was fine, Daddy. No, very good. Very good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
So just with 2 rounds out of
Wonderful. Yes, I will eat. So everything is good. I know you guys have been striking out with that. Very low. I think something will.
Is Dr. Richard Monarch from the UN.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, excellent.
She is representing the teachers.
Oh, wonderful. I'm very good. I'm very good. Nice to meet you.
Resource person. Yeah. Okay, and then the president of the Costa Nigeria.
I call him King James. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
What do you think is the best? Yes, I like to have a conversation. When you do like this, you have already done it, so you just need to wait till you stand the lecture. You're not taking two questions. The light is there, so it's checking the battery. It's going to start the light.
Very high risk. Yeah. How are you? When he knows that I don't come back to events,
His Royal is also former Minister of State Environment. That's right.
Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the arrival of the Chancellor of the National State University and the Emir of NASARAWA, we are going to start this program. Special guest of honor at today's event, the Minister for Environment, who is today represented, has been seated at the Vice Chancellor's office waiting. As the get organized, we got you to kindly remain standing as we are going to take the national anthem and the school anthem. The national anthem, please. Atlanta. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're here today at NASARAWA State University, KEFFI, one of the fastest growing university in the sub-Sahara of Africa. Please a round of applause for NASARAWA State University for always being at the top of its game. And that is why we are here today in recognition of our growth as we partner to make progress in this university. Today, we are here at the Senate Chamber for a public lecture on environment and climate action entrepreneurship, which is organized by the Ibafosa Center for Climate Action of this university. Before we further with this program, let me take time out to introduce dignitaries who are here present to grace this occasion. We have Barrister Mohammed Abdullahi, who is our special guest of honor. He's not here physically, but he's here represented by a very senior officer of the ministry, who is the Conservator General, Dr. Ibrahim Musa Goni. He's here to take the welcome, sir. Honorable Minister, sir, we have the Chancellor of this university, to have a very respected royal father, someone who has committed his time towards bringing in fortunes to improve on what we are doing in this university. He was before now a member of the Executive Council, and as regards that and while doing that, he brought most of this environmental sector in this university. He is the Emir of NASARAWA, and Haji has seated. You're welcome, your We also have the DG of NASRA, who is also represented by the man. I also understand he's also here seated at the podium. You can please rise for recognition. We also have the DG of NISA, Engineer Eze Clement Onyeso. I saw him earlier when he walked in. You're welcome, DG sir. NEMA also here represented. We have Mrs. Fatima Kazim, who is the Director of Planning Research of that agency. She's here representing the DG. We have lots of personnel from the Office of the Conservator General, who are also here in partnership of today's program. Before I further with introductions with other guests, let me quickly mention that this program is packaged by the Office of the Vice Chancellor of the NASARAWA State University, KEFFI. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Suleiman Bala Mohammed, not here seated in person, but our other principal officers are equally here. We have our Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, Professor Sir Director for Climate Change, UNEP Africa. It is with these introductions that I will quickly invite to the podium our acting Vice Chancellor, Professor H.K. Ayuba, for his remarks. Please round of applause for him.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Environment, the Director General, NIMET, Professor Barko, Montazu, the Director General NASARAWA, Professor Aliyu Jagoro, Head Third, ably represented by Alhaji Ibrahim Audu, the one by KEFFI, the Royal Father and Patron of the FOSA program in Nigeria, the former Honorable Minister of Environment, His Royal Highness Haji Ibrahim Usman Jibril, the guest speaker, Dr. Richard Monarch, the National President of FOSA Nigeria, Dr. James, Principal Officers of the University, Deans, the event for our university in several respects. Our university is the first in Nigeria to have a UN and before the United Nations Environment Program Africa Regional Office in addressing climate actions. Secondly, the NASARAWA State Undergraduate Curriculum for the BSc Entrepreneurship Program. The idea is for our undergraduate students to leverage the opportunities that climate change presents to enhance their capacities and increase their resilience. Thirdly, our university is also the first to have a solar dryer donated by the UNEP Africa Regional Office. Fourthly, this university recently benefited from a grant of $5,000 given by the UNEP Africa Regional Office to strengthen the FOSA Center. Last but not the least, we are privileged to have the first public lecture on climate action being delivered by the UNEP Africa Regional Office and the regional director himself. So for this and many other goodwill we have enjoyed as a university, we are immensely grateful to Dr. Richard Monarch and his team at the UNEP Africa Regional Office for considering us worthy of such gesture. We are committed to continue partnership and collaborative vision and mission, but will increase our visibility. This whole partnership started through the initial efforts of our Royal Father and Patron of the UNEP FOSA program in Nigeria, and a former Honorable Minister of Environment, His Royal Highness Haji Ibrahim Usman Jibril, the Emir of NASARAWA. We thank His Royal Father, His Royal Highness, for this vision and for the fatherly blessings in the planning of this program. We are also immensely grateful to the Chancellor of the University, His Royal Highness Dr. Shehu Chindo Musa Yamusa III, for his visionary leadership in steering the affairs of the university. You have brought tremendous goodwill to the university and increased its visibility through numerous national and international linkages and partnerships. We remain extremely grateful to you, sir. Let me use this occasion to appreciate the presence of the Honorable Minister of Environment, Barrister Mohammed Adlai, who is the son of the soil, although he's not here, but is ably represented by the Conservator General. And he was, until his recent appointment and deployment, the Minister of State, Science and Technology. We're immensely grateful to have you here. We also appreciate the presence of all the dignitaries.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you agree with me, and indeed the management of NASARAWA State University, KEFFI, that today is a golden day to this university. The special guest of honor, the Honorable Minister of Environment, our dear son and leader, Barrister Muhammad Hassan Abdullahi, ably represented by the Conservator General of the Federation, Dr. Ibrahim Musa Goni. Their Royal Highnesses, the Vice Chancellor of the University, the President of FOSA, the entire management team of NASARAWA State University, KEFFI, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It behoves on me this afternoon to give commendation to whom deserves such commendation. Today, Nasarawa State again has succeeded in unfolding another annal in his history. Today, Nasarawa State has been placed on the global map of research in environmental action. Today, Nasarawa State University is privileged to showcase its potentials not just to Nigeria, not just to Africa, but the entire world. Can we please commend Dr. Richard Monarch for driving this project into reality. The Honorable Minister, sir, it is our pleasure to continue to thank you and commend you for the effort, passion, and interest you have shown to the Nasarawa State project. You are not only an individual but a leader that has shown commitment to the development of Nasarawa State University. I do recall the minister when he was the secretary to the state government of Nasarawa State, through his intervention with the then government of distinguished senator Munang and Makura. Nasarawa State University has gotten so many interventions that has made it what it is today. Honorable Minister, through your representative, we want to commend you very specially for your passion and interest in the development of Nasarawa State project. Our very dear Chancellor, an emir of KEFFI, he is one person that is standing out among the crowd. He has succeeded indeed in the internationalization of Nasarawa State project by linking us up with universities, organizations within Nigeria, within Africa, and indeed the world. Your Royal Highness and our Chancellor, we want to thank you for that effort. Our dear patron of this great project, my very dear father, His Royal Highness the Emir of NASARAWA, through whose effort we are witnessing what we are witnessing now. Like Dr. Isor said, when we came back from Poland, we've gone to Poland to further open the horizon of the visibility of Nasarawa State University among global universities. We arrived today. The next day, there was an invitation that we should all report at the Emir's Palace. Who did we see? Dr. Richard Monarch with this pet project. And as the director NASA said, Nasarawa State University is restless. Nasarawa State University has one leg. Nasarawa State University never sleeps. We pursue what we are going to pursue to the concluding end. And this is what we are witnessing today. Our dynamic Vice Chancellor, I will have called him His Excellency, but let me say Professor Suleiman Bala Muhammad, who has been driving the Nasarawa State to make the difference. During his tenure, up to today, Nasarawa State University has received not just continental recognition, but global recognition in very excellent areas of research and development. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, we want to commend you. The entire university community is happy with the way and manner you've been driving the frontiers of Nasarawa State University. And I believe the owners of this university are also very happy. Our Directors General, NISA, NEMA, and NESI, you are not just our developing partners, you are our collaborators. A lot of things has happened. For want of time, let me restrict my comment here to say a lot of things has happened between these three very key and strategic organizations. We have gone into MOUs, we have visited NEMA. NEMA had promised what will end up to be history in this university. And we are looking forward to having that promise being fulfilled. NISA, NEMA, and NESRI, you remain our very strong partners in progress. We thank you and we commend you for your effort. Once again, Mr. Richard Monarch, or Dr. Richard Monarch, let me say something you've never heard. NASARAWA State today, the DG NISA said we are happy. I want to reassure you that we are the happiest as this event unfolds. The Evaluation collaboration is in tandem with UNEP initiative. Let me use this golden opportunity to pay special tribute to the president of Evaluation for his interest and passion to this collaboration. Through his intervention, what we are witnessing today has come to fruition. The commissioning of course, our solar trial, the commissioning of our Center of Environmental and Climate Change Action, and of course, the donation by the UN to this university will go a long way in assisting this project to be really realizable. Once again, Professor President and your entire body, we want to thank you very, very specially. The organizers of this function, the Center for the Directorate of Linkages and International Cooperation, the Department and the Faculty of Environmental Sciences, and all other persons who have put hand on them to make this project realizable today, we want to specially commend you and thank you for this effort.
Distinguished audience, I will not emphasize much of protocol, but tell you the beautiful story of the center. Mono, Dr. Richard Munang, and His Royalness, the Emir of NASARAWA, are very shining stars on our skies. And I'm not talking about the skies of KEFFI, nor the skies of Nigeria, but the skies of Africa. In November 2019, less than 3 years ago, the vision of this center was conceived. This took place upon the return of the Vice Chancellor and the Registrar from a linkage trip abroad to Poland. And they told me we were going for a meeting. There was one Dr. Richard Monarch waiting for us at the palace of the Emir of NASARAWA. Now, on that day, this glorious platform for research, innovation, excellence, and for the provision of solutions to our climate issues on this continent was battered. No such idea of an academically based center has ever been conceived with such notorious speed anywhere, at least to the best of the knowledge of UNEP. Dr. Richard Monarch, am I right, sir?
Very right.
Now, this takes strategic vision, and this is where the Vice Chancellor, Professor Suleiman Bala Mohammed, ought to be commended. This audience, without despising anyone, I'll plead, apart from the two royal fathers, that we give a standing ovation to the Vice Chancellor and Dr. Richard Monarch. Please let's rise in their honor. You may be seated. You may be seated. Within 3 months, all that entails the evolution of an MOU, going through management, going through legal departments, and you can imagine UN, which is a very big organization, and deals with so many other entities and institutions on earth, carving out that time to give us such record attention and speed. Dr. Richard Monarch, you are here on behalf of UNEP, you have done for Nasarawa State University what universities that are over 40 years old are yearning for. We are just 20 years old. And thanks to that, today the center within 1 year has attracted a grant. I will not repeat what the VC has said. The center, I want to add, within 1 year has run 3 substantial training programs. And before the end of the year, this very center is going to host strategic partners beyond Nigeria to a dialogue, climate change dialogue here on this campus. This center began with no staff and has been mentioned by the IPO. It is being overseen by linkages and international cooperation. But because of the support of UNEP, we have 6 ad hoc staff, including 1 core member. No center has this number of staff in this university. None. So we are saying that there's a model evolving, a model for partnerships, a model for excellence, and a model for international collaboration. And you can find this model only in Nasarawa State University, residing with INSUC and UNEP/EBAFOSA. Finally, I want to answer. This university did what has never been done in terms of approval of curriculum. Within 1 month, it took inputs from UNEP, it deliberated on the inputs, it passed the input through all the 3 levels of committee oversight on curriculum development and administration. And within 1 month, the Senate of this university had already approved 2 courses, first of their kind in the whole world. No university curriculum in the whole universe has any course yet on climatepreneurship. This was done between INSUC and UNEP. What the VC mentioned that I will recast in another way is that the INSUC UNEP EBAFOSA Climate Change Center is the first in Africa and is a reference center for the 54 countries of Africa. Am I right, sir, Dr. Richard? Yeah. So I had to come out to buttress the brief history or the evolution of this center, probably on and the sheer goodwill that greeted the 3-year-long now partnership that looks as though it had been brokered in the last 30 years. This is the brief story of the center. We know it will grow as it is commissioned today, and the first solar dryer for training purposes. We know that many things. Like Dr. Richard will always say, Doctor, this is big for INSU. Doctor, we are waiting for the elephant. Thank you very much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Minister of Environment, represented here by Dr. Ibrahim Lumi, the Conservator General of the National Park, my royal brother, Emir of KEFFI and Chancellor of Nasarawa State University, KEFFI, represented by Wombay. Permit me to skip all these protocols because of want of time, and to sincerely apologize to you for making you to start this event late. Those who know us know clearly that we do not play with time, because we know time is of essence and it does not wait for anybody. Today, I don't know how it happened, but I had to leave Nasarawa late and I was rushing to ensure that we keep to time. So please, I tender my sincere apologies for making us to start late. Having said that, I want to thank the management of the university for giving us this privilege to attend this very important event. To me, this is a significant milestone as far as environmental issues are concerned. We have to accept the fact that environmental issues are global issues and do not spare any part of the world. Just a couple of weeks back, or 2-3 weeks, the President of the Federal Republic was in Abidjan for COP15 on combating desertification. And I believe all of us are aware that there is no part of this country that has no one challenge of environment or the other. If you look at the northern part of the country, desertification and desert encroachment is a major threat to our means of livelihood. And the sand dunes, particularly in the north, are moving at an alarming rate of more than 400 meters per annum. This is scary. We all know the story of Lake Chad. The body of water that was more than this state was about 27 square kilometers of land. Shrunk in the last 30 years to just about 2,000 square kilometers. And this has extended consequences because you cannot eliminate the issue of Boko Haram from this drying of the Lake Chad. The means of livelihood that were lost is a major determining factor. And therefore we cannot ignore the issue of environment wherever we may find ourselves. If you go to the southern part of the country, coastal erosion is buffeting, and the mangroves that are key in marine life are also being destroyed by oil pollution, particularly in the Niger Delta. In this north central, you also have the issue of continuous deforestation. So much so that the Guinea Savannah is gradually turning into the Sudan, and we don't know, maybe Sahel. These are serious environmental challenges. And then to cap it all, the climate change has come in, and we must have to address it squarely. You realize in the north central part of the country, a lot of tubers, particularly yams, are produced. But in the past, probably 10, 20 years back, you plant these yams in the month of December, November, December, and even January. Nowadays, if you do that, chances are that you are going to lose a lot, because the rains will come in late instead of coming around February, March. They simply don't come. And by the time they arrive, you continue to have dry spells of a week, 2 weeks, and they get born. So these environmental issues are clearly a threat to our existence, and we have to address it squarely. And that is why the center here in NASARAWA State University, that has been driven courtesy of the United Nations Environment Program in Kenya and Dr. Richard, who has agreed to be a progressive partner, cannot be underestimated. It's a real privilege for us, and the speed at which this center took off, we have to sincerely thank the Vice Chancellor and his management team. It is one thing to link up on a very important issue. It is another for those you are linking to understand the idea behind the linkages and to adopt it with such an alarming speed. We thought of this center because we wanted to catch the young elements in our society. You need to educate. You need to do a lot of advocacy. Without this advocacy, without the younger element understanding what climate change is all about, what threat is going to pose to our livelihood, we cannot go far. And the fact that now we're actualizing this dream is a thing of joy to us, and we must keep driving this process forward. We believe this is the right thing to do. We believe as long as we get the younger element to understand critical issues, the sky may not even be the limit. Maybe we have to go to space. And I think we're on the right track. I'm particularly delighted that the Conservator General is here. The title of his office is Conservator General, in charge of the national parks. And I know we thank Dr. Richard Monarch for his untiring spirit. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for sending a strong team. The NASARAWA guys are around, the enforcement arm of the Ministry of Environment, and other agencies like NEMA. This is a strong commitment. It's sending us a strong signal, and we want the university to continue to be the pace setters that they are. We want to thank each and every person, particularly the strong management team of the university, the students, and other key stakeholders who have decided to make this event a huge success. I must tell you frankly, when I entered and saw the number of people waiting, I've been a bit embarrassed to have to keep people waiting. But I believe we'll be forgiven for that. We sincerely welcome this event. Please deliver a sincere message to the Honorable Minister for sparing his time. We know how busy the office is, but the fact that he has not forgotten and has sent a high-powered team is something worth commending. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Greetings to you from the United Nations Environment Program Africa Office. But before I start, please give a round of applause to NASARAWA State University KEFFI for the excellent, wonderful work that they are doing. They are showcasing to the entire world, not only African continent, but to the entire world, that solutions are devised, and those solutions turn challenges to opportunities, and those solutions also need to be seized. That's what you are demonstrating. When I was driving down here today, been driven down here today, this thought came to my mind. And the thought is about what we usually hear, that good things don't hide. I was thinking where this thought came from, because we've heard this for quite a very long time. And I noticed it came from witness. So I am here as a witness to the excellent work that the university is doing, but let me just put this in perspective, because we are discussing about climatepreneurship and environment here today. The environment is national security. The environment is food security. The environment is health. The environment is economic prosperity. The environment is justice. Why do I say this? A story is told of a rich man in a community who invited his fellow friends and their families to the wedding ceremony of his elder son, anticipating that there would be many people who are going to attend this event. He put his best foot forward. And he put his best foot forward to ensure that this event can be planned and executed with effectiveness. On that day of the wedding, none of the people who were invited showed up to this event. He had spent so much, yet those he thought deserved his honor disappointed him. And he faced a significant loss. He faced a significant loss in the food that has been prepared, in the money that has been spent. Disappointed, he ordered his servants to go out in the village and streets and get everybody, including the poor, the hungry, that no one cares for, and invited them to be his guests at the wedding. The ruler was pleased to see that he had made a good decision, and that those he thought did not deserve him were the right people to dine with him, because the field is hers. They brought laughter and they also brought happiness. He was happy that he had learned something, and that something is in two words: real impact. Real impact occurs when efforts are targeted. Gentlemen, while this parable that I've just presented, paraphrased here to you today, applies to other occasions, its core principle underpins climate action entrepreneurship. It's about making climate action meaningful and impactful to everyone in the community in which we live in today. Because climate change is no longer an abstract issue. We are seeing droughts and floods. We are witnessing this impact across the entire African continent. These impacts are happening in the continent in which we live in today that holds 65% of uncultivated arable land. But yet, 257 million Africans go to bed hungry. These impacts of climate change are happening in the continent where we live in, where we have 50% of all the food that is produced each and every year lost as post-harvest losses, and this is costing the continent $48 billion each and every year. And as this is happening, the continent is importing food worth $35 billion and projected to reach $110 billion in less than 3 years from today. And all these losses we see, as 257 million people go to bed hungry, can actually be addressed in a continent that have 365 days of sunshine. Decentralizing just simple solar dryers, which are climate action solutions, to power value addition, can tap a total African market worth $150 billion each and every year. But this is an opportunity that is not being tapped. This stream of losses that are enumerated here today stems from unsustainable consumption patterns that have spiraled into three aspects: climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, and waste, what we formally call the triple planetary crisis. But devising solutions to these interrelated environmental challenges underpins environment and climate actionpreneurship, which NASARAWA State University have taken the lead for the entire world to see. It is the call to unlocking opportunities right here in Nigeria, across the entire African continent and the entire world. For example, when you take pollution, for example, Nigeria generates an estimated over 500,000 tons of plastics each and every year, which further degrades the environment. However, what the data is showing is that 12% of these plastics are recycled. Recycling and reusing plastics in Nigeria can generate up to $500 per ton in enterprise opportunities. And this can create millions of jobs. And if the country was to recycle the 500,000 tons of plastics, a 250 million a year industry would be added to the Nigerian economy. On another level, across the entire continent today, these statistics that I'm mentioning here are not just mere statistics. 700,000 Africans die each and every year because of indoor pollution. These are our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters, and they've committed no crime. The only thing that makes them to die is because they don't have an alternative. They depend on charcoal because there's no alternative. And they're losing their life. And when you tell that down to Nigeria here, up to 218,000 Nigerian lives every year cost because of indoor pollution. Devising alternative cooking is no longer an option. Alternative cooking solutions could tap into over $70 million in annual market opportunities. Then there is climate change, which we've already heard. The elephant in the room. Yes, it is the elephant in the room because as we're speaking today, this climate change is costing African economies as we speak today. It's not a distant issue, it is with us. It's costing the economies of Africa every year $20 billion. But in no sector Are these losses as high as they are in the food sector? While climate change, as I said, lowers yields on the one hand, lack of value addition is a problem in the continent. It means that even every little food that we produce, 3/4 of it is lost. And if we continuously encroaching and destroying our ecosystems, cutting down our forests, we are only increasing the post-harvest losses, and that is not solving the problem. This scenario of losses replace across the continent, but when you bring it to Nigeria here, the Nigerian economy loses up to $400 billion in annual income opportunities because of inadequate agro-value addition. To elaborate further, the country is the largest cassava producer globally. And as we know, cassava is a climate resilient crop. I call cassava Africa's insurance crop, Africa's hidden gold, which is untapped. Can you imagine that the cassava food that we depend on, the market is worth $23 billion. Can you imagine that you can produce up to 300 diverse products just from cassava? Can you imagine that sorghum, millet, under the changing climate, the data is showing that those crops are going to fail, but cassava will not. Cassava will not. However, this high-value crop has not been adopted as Africa's strategic food reserve crop. This center is an opportunity to lead this continent. But simple solar dryers can't reverse this, as they have been showcased. Decentralizing this can be able to reverse and reduce this post-harvest loss by up to 30%. And fully maximizing the entire agro-value chain of cassava can create jobs and generate opportunities. As we're speaking today, the world is faced with multiplicity of challenges. The fuel prices are happening across the entire world. Food prices are up across the entire world. There's no country that is immune to these shocks that we're facing as a global community. But what we know is that the significance of focusing on cassava, which I will center my discussion around today, is because the significance of substituting wheat, which the continent of Africa, it's costing the continent billions of dollars. Substituting wheat with cassava has increased, it will increase an opportunity, not only to reduce the cost, but also tap into this market that is worth $23 billion a year. The substitution can see Nigeria create up to 3 million jobs along the cassava value chain that cuts inefficiencies. In NASARAWA, where we are today, over 90% of people engaged in agriculture urgently need value addition solutions. But the agro-value chain is not the only area where delivering solutions offers opportunities. Clean cooking to reduce indoor pollution is another. And this is a double tragedy, as I explained, because the focus on using charcoal caused our natural forests to be degraded. Up to 70% of Nigeria's households depend on charcoal, like many African countries across the entire African continent. And this dependence has been responsible for massive deforestation. In 2020 alone, the country lost over 97,000 acres of its forests. And if this rate continues like this, Nigeria will lose all its forests by 2047. That's the data that we have. But let me put this in perspective again. Despite all these challenges, they are disguised opportunities to tap, to drive transformational development for each and everyone. Nigeria is a pioneering leader, and please clap for yourself. It is a pioneering leader with the merit of enabling policies for enterprise development in the climate change arena. From the Nigeria Climate Change Act of 2021 to the updated nationally determined NDCs that set a target to cut emissions by up to 47% in just 8 years from today. As we speak today, Nigeria has a total of 19 pieces of laws and policies that unlock opportunities in the environment. In just last year, the Medium-Term National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, which focuses on economic growth, including human capital development, was unveiled to keep the country on track in driving the sustainable development goals. These must be appreciated. I have always said, if we do not appreciate progress, we cannot make progress. And we can always build on what we have. These policies create the enabling environment, because policy is the driver of change that can drive transformational development. Tapping, therefore, from this enabling environment, which we must do, can drive transformational climate actions for the collective benefit of all. For example, simple climate action solutions of waste recovery to fuel briquettes to replace charcoal can reduce the pressure on forests. And it's been shown across the continent from work that has been done, which I'm going to discuss what is happening in NASARAWA here. It's been shown to save an average household across the continent nearly 3 times more than charcoal. This increased savings are critical for buffering households' incomes to enhance socio-economic resilience. These fuel briquettes stands to tap a market opportunity across Africa worth $20 billion. I am saying, giving all these aspects to show the opportunities that this center that is created at this university will offer. Because climatepreneurship may sound like a very big word, but it's about simple actions that turn challenges to opportunities, that turn environmental challenges to opportunities. And I'm saying this to paint a realistic picture of the merit of these opportunities. If we embrace climate action entrepreneurship across the entire country and across the entire continent and the world, to deliver solutions, we will see not only transformation in our economies, we'll see job creation for our youth, from NASARAWA to KEFFI to Azoba, together with the university here and the Emirates of NASARAWA, under the patronage of His Royal Highness, the Emir of NASARAWA. Young people right here in NASARAWA state have engaged, have been coordinating through the Climatepreneurship Solutions, a youth climate action initiative. These young people, under the patronage of Emir of NASARAWA, His Royal Highness, these young people are showing that these opportunities can be tapped. These willing young people have retooled their skills. They have retooled their skills and they are now turning challenges into opportunities. Devising solar dryers, developing these solar dryers to reduce post-harvest losses, to add value to cassava, and they're producing cassava flour. They're turning agricultural waste from cassava, from maize, to fuel briquettes that are replacing charcoal. This is important. This is something that will transform Africa and will showcase to the world that the solutions to the changing climate can actually be devised by our human capital, our young people, who are what I call the climate action army that needs to be tapped into. Through the patronage of the Emir of NASARAWA and his governance structure that goes all the way to the grassroots, a symbiotic collaboration between these young people and the community for uptake of these solutions has been developed. This is an example that will have to be copied across the continent. Within NASARAWA, within Shugu Market, on average, each farmer loses between 200 to 300,000 naira to post-harvest losses because of ineffective preservation. This translates to about 20% of the harvest, which at times could be imagined that the need for profitability. As an intervention, leveraging on the Ebafosa Innovative Volunteerism, youth actors installed and tested a large-scale solar dryer that has actually helped to not only reduce post-harvest losses, but is helping to showcase that the standard organization of Nigeria standards on cassava, moisture content of 12%, this solar dryer is helping to achieve that. We are proud to have the NASARAWA State University, KEFFI, as our partner, a partner with the United Nations Environment Program, a university that is renowned for excellence. Yes, you are. A university that has created the first ever Ebafosa Center of Excellence to drive climate action entrepreneurship. Thanks to the visionary leadership of the Vice Chancellor and your indefatigable staff, you have showcased to the entire world that transformational development can be driven, and your motto, knowledge for development, is showcasing that we can be able to drive every opportunity and tap it in challenges. ENSOC is the first ever university globally, to the best of my knowledge, to have adopted and integrated climate action entrepreneurship into the curriculum. Nigeria. This is a big milestone for Africa. This is a big milestone for the entire world. And this is an opportunity that showcases that this modern curriculum This center that is hosted at this university will empower young people who are the sovereign capital, who already 20 young people have already been trained in inaugural class in the theory and practical aspects of clean cooking and briquette. And all these 20 young people will be guided to become climate action entrepreneurs. They'll be tapping into the billions of dollars that we talk about all the time, but sometimes we wait for the solutions to come elsewhere. The solutions will be coming from here. NASARAWA State University is that innovative center. Your Royal Highness, the Emir, has been the most gracious. The Emir of NASARAWA have been the most gracious, the most formidable supporter, and the patron of this work. Please give a round of applause to the Emir of NASARAWA. He opened his emirate as a free training and demonstration site for any young willing person in the entire emirate and offered tireless wise counsel on making progress. He has provided the moral, social, and mental support. And he has been a true father figure to the entire progress we have made. Please, let's appreciate again the Royal Highness with a clap. As you can see, what I've mentioned here today, the key factors that we need to then ensure that this climatepreneurship become the norm and not the exception. I will leave you therefore with aspects that we need to take forward, which is in this global turmoil society in which we live in today, where a flood anywhere can displace people, where drought can plunge millions of people into seeking food in places not even their own. We need then to think diversification. That's my first point to leave you with. We must diversify. The past 2 years have been unprecedented in recent years as far as global economic shocks are concerned. If there is any lesson that we learned during COVID that we must pick up, it is that while emergencies may be on a global scale, they do not affect everyone the same. I will repeat that while emergencies, whether they are droughts or floods or locusts as they happen in East Africa, or COVID, or any emergency that we can think of, they do not affect countries the same across the globe. Some countries will be affected differently, some people will be affected differently. This reality has taught us that it is our responsibility as global citizens, as African citizens, as Nigerian citizens, to also play our part in driving transformational environmental solutions. And that way we can be able to build a better tomorrow. The climate action entrepreneurship that we have discussed today, the Climate Action Entrepreneurship Center that is opened here at NASARAWA State University, is an opportunity for each and every one of us to come and learn from it, to diversify our enterprising engagements. The most significant enabler of diversification is skills retooling. Each and every one of us, especially the young people, must learn new skills to be able to diversify into new areas. And today, the Climate Action Entrepreneurship Center offers you precisely that. And that takes me to the second point, which is, do not take the already existing enabling environment for granted. The Climate Change Act of 2021, the Nigerian Nationally Determined Contribution Revised, they present you the opportunity, especially the young people, to tap into and start to turn agricultural waste into briquettes, and start to learn how to fabricate a solar dryer. Those are market opportunities for you. The bulk of the implementation actions around the entire world, the implementation action of policies around the entire world, over the entire world, are actualized by everybody, ordinary people, private citizens, and the number one investor in any country, it's citizens through enterprise actions. We must take responsibility to identify a niche area of entrepreneurship from the Climate Change Act of 2021 of Nigeria and determine the incentives that are captured there and tap into that. That takes me to the third point. Data is everything. Data is everything. If you cannot be able to tap into data, you cannot be able to drive transformational policy making and transformational development. No matter how good, brilliant, or excellent ideas are, the only thing that moves them is success stories. Success story. I mentioned 257 million Africans who go to bed hungry. That's a statistic. But that statistic represents people. And it's not just a mere statistic. I mentioned $35 billion US that is being used to import food. That's a statistic. But it represents missed opportunities. So why I'm bringing up this aspect of data here today is that verifiable proof of grand successes of climate action solutions is an opportunity that we must tap through driving transformational climatepreneurship solutions. This is the only premium we can make to ensure that we can attract targeted incentives. Because sometimes we hear that no incentives, no data now, so how we go start for do the work? No, start and use the success stories to make a case that you need tax breaks. Use your success story to make the case that yes, you have turned agricultural waste into fuel briquettes, and you're showing that you are reducing the dependence on charcoal. Then you can then ask for tax incentives. We must act and use data to make informed decisions. And that takes me to the fourth point, which to me is the most important point that sometimes is ignored. When I look across the entire African continent today, sometimes we will talk about there's not enough finances. Sometimes we will talk about the hard aspects. But there is a missing point which I want to leave you with today, which is passion. And the passion I'm talking here is not passion fruit in the market that we go about. I'm talking about passion, that inner flame in each and every one of us that burns when we really want to do something. In driving transformational climate action solutions, in driving climatepreneurship, we need to develop purposeful passion. Passion is the fuel that moves ideas into real-life solutions. If you can see the way that NASARAWA State University, KEFFI, has embraced the idea of climatepreneurship. Yes, it took passion. Yes, if you can see the way that the Emir of NASARAWA, His Royal Highness, has embraced the transformational environmental solutions dimension. Yes, it took passion. We must, each and every one of us, embrace passion. With that passion, you throw ideas on any problem, or even money on every problem and waste it and end up with no result. We must all cultivate purposeful passion towards offering practical solutions that can then be able to address community challenges and unlock climatepreneurship opportunities. And this takes me to the last point. We must all become transformational values-based leaders. Leadership is personal responsibility. Leadership is personal responsibility. In the mid-1940s and mid-1950s and on to the early 1960s, as the clamor for self-determined rule reached fever pitch across the entire African continent, self-appointed men and women who espouse boldness, who espouse passion in them, in the struggle to liberate their people, these men and women were inspired to address the problem that was facing the African continent. Their every move was governed by a laser-sharp focus and clarity of vision to win independence for their people. They did not postpone this for a day for lack of resources. They did not say, if money no day, I don't go do them. They were dedicated in what they wanted to do. They did not postpone this call for a day in the hope of elusive perfection. This is the foundation of values-based leadership that we must all identify with and champion to drive climate action and entrepreneurship. It is leadership that has been showcased here at the NASARAWA State University under the leadership of the Vice Chancellor and your entire academic fraternity. You have showcased values-based leadership, and each and every one of us should be able to tap that into every activity and action that we're engaging in. It is leadership premise on selflessness and taking personal responsibility to touch many lives by turning environmental challenges into opportunities. In the cycles of life, it happens that a unique challenge befalls one generation, which must be solved to guarantee the safe existence of future generations. Climate change is a challenge of our time. Yes, it is a challenge of our generation, and we can seize the opportunity through climatepreneurship. Thank you.
that lecture by Dr. Richard Monarch. He actually went through many issues that concerns why we're here today. Please, another applause for that lecture.
Working lecture. We are grateful for all that you have done for NASARAWA State University. I've heard you mention fuel briquettes, and I'd like to announce to you that seated here, the director of the Center for Environment and Sustainable Development is a specialist in fuel briquetting, and using the long leg that the DG mentioned, after the solar dryer, we would like to partner with you on production of fuel briquetting. Thank you very much.
Who are here for this program, especially participants, can wait for 5 minutes. They will be offered refreshment, while others will have theirs accompanied to their cars. Then we're going to have group photograph downstairs before we leave for the commissioning of.
I don't want to commission this.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, and then the Honorable Minister will commission the center.
So what?
Yes, so we start first. You will start with.
Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished guests here present, we are here at the Nsuk UNEP Ebafusa Solar. Let me invite Dr. Richard Monarch to do this. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. I would start with an African proverb that says that it takes a village to raise a child. And our presence here today is not necessarily raising a physical child, but showcasing a solution that will solve community problems, and that young people will be taught at these very universities to be able to use their skills to address challenges and also put more money in their pocket as they put food on the table. And so, with that much ado, I want to say that this Nsuk UNEP Ebafosa Solar Drying Center, Innovative Volunteerism for Climate Action Center, is going to be not just an example of how climate action is going to be done, but it will be a showcase to the world that you will start having people coming to learn how it is done here. With those few words, I said thank you very much. In French, they say merci beaucoup. In Swahili, they say asante sana. I know that was before they cut, but I would say if you close your eyes to facts, you will learn through accidents. And climate change is a fact, so this is a solution.
Thank you.
Yes.
The microphone? These are the drying rack. Yeah, so what we have here is a first convection solar dryer that is made locally from locally made materials.
Yeah.
So it operates in three principles.
Stop that.
Light to heat. And this heat is being filtered with ultraviolet rays is being filtered through the UV polyethylene sheet, which is this cover that is here. And the heat here is being circulated through the use of exhaust fans, circulated for uniform drying, and also extracted so that the humidity and vapor will be out, and it gives it uniform drying. So this is a local source also.
This is usually for training purposes.
The mic looks like it's not
Training
working.
purposes, you need a bigger one outside for the farmers to be able to access. But for the purpose of training for students, show them what is here. And dry so many things. You can dry cassava, you can dry tomatoes, there's many other farm products. So the small purpose and the small purpose. Even the briquettes that they are making can be dried here. And it takes between 3 to 8 hours. Wow. Once you set them maybe in the evening, or morning time, they are dried.
The magic solution.
Yeah.
Wow.
Different.
What in a slotic way? What produces that?
Yes. Traffic. And it filters the ultraviolet rays away and then retains the heat that is needed for product to dry.
Where did you do micro hand where you want to come now?
Thank you very much.
Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are here represented. As such, I will hand over the microphone. Please present it.
Your Royal Highness, the Emir of NASARAWA, Imagine Ibrahim Suman Jibril, Your Royal Highness, the Emir of KEFFI, Light Children alongside the Judge, the Vice Chancellor, the Acting Vice Chancellor who is holding brief, members of the academic of the university, taught us, I would say he taught us, what we need to know about climate adaptation. My name is Ibrahim Musa Goni, the Conservator General of the National Park Service, representing Barrister Mohammed Hassan Abdullahi, the Honorable Minister of Environment. The NASARAWA State University UNEP Ebahosa Center is built as a prototype for one, for NASARAWA State, two, for Nigeria, and three, for Africa. And having led in this area of science, I think the effort of the Nigerian government towards climate resilience and climate adaptation is close to being achieved. Because if other universities and other teaching centers can adopt this and of course replicate it, I believe our solution to climate change is not far-fetched. Therefore, on behalf of the Honorable Minister, and to the glory of God, to the glory of God, for the benefit of Nigerians and NASARAWA State, particularly the NASARAWA State farmers, I commission this center on behalf of Honorable Barrister. Thank you very much.
This commission just commissioned this center. This is a training center, and we're here to commission the curriculum, the Climatepreneurship curriculum, which is the Royal Highness will help in unveiling the Royal Highness.
Glory of God, we unveil this curriculum for the purpose of training and ensuring that our young elements are here capable and learn a lot so that they can also train in the future. We hope and pray that this curriculum will go a long way to help our country to continue in climate change adaptation as well as possible.
Yes.
Let's turn around. Let's put up. Thank you.
I hope this partnership for is to get the young element, train the trainers. We're told that in the agricultural sector, most of the extension services are home. Most of the extension services are home. So if we don't get those who will go out into the field and lecture and demonstrate, we are not going to do that. But since now we have this center, we're going to train people to be enterprising. If somebody tells me he has a degree in entrepreneurship and then comes with a CV asking for employment, I laugh. Then you don't learn anything. You have to create jobs and employment actions. Opportunities are there. The good case, it's a pity that Richard did not think it proper to bring this part of those of it. I will invite the VC on the way to Gerard. The new VC one day, spare time. Contribution on the Congress. And I believe this is what is happening here also. And we will partner with the founders so that any practical solution that may not be done can be done with the aspect of that at low cost. I believe this can help the young element. Chief Master was saying in his famous book, things for the mother car was chewing, the little car was watching the mouth. So the younger element and the baby, the car will be watching what we are doing. So we need to chew them so that one person of chewing don't bite their tongue. So, very told you how to give us some quality. And I would advise you that you dye that your gray hair. So don't scare the younger ones. I wish you all the best, and I pray most sincerely that this will be a partnership that will go from strength to strength. I'm sure there will be a lot of copycats. Yes. But the fact remains that the university will be the first choices. I will always go for it. My leave will also be as Friday.
Who's holding? Bring it.
Your real Minister, what is your remarks as regards to what just transpired in order for you to succeed?
Security is a national security. And center like this, I believe we're taking a step, just like the necessary, trying to adopt and to achieve our intended determined contribution. We congratulate the university, we congratulate you for their collaborative work. And we hope and pray that this route of collaboration will continue to go from strength to strength. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Viewers and readers, can you just summarize the lectures you delivered?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are in uncharted territory, which is under a changing climate, where we are seeing droughts and floods and other emergencies like COVID came. We didn't expect COVID, and we could see cyclones coming and floods. So what we need, and if you look at the motto of NASARAWA State University KEFFI, it's knowledge for development. So development happening under emergencies is different from development that we know that was not having these emergencies that are happening today. So when you look at that and look at the youth unemployment across Africa and in Nigeria, you look at food security, which is mentioned that 257 million Africans go to bed hungry, but when it comes down to Nigeria, you have Nigeria losing food worth $300 million every year. And on top of that, you have Nigeria that is a leader in pioneering climate solutions, especially through putting policies in place, like the Climate Action 2021 bill, like its revised nationally determined contributions. When you look at all these things and the challenges of food insecurity, the challenges of unclean cooking that millions are depending on charcoal, and every year, Nigeria is losing over 231,000 of her citizens to indoor pollution. And these are our mothers and brothers who are dying, they've committed no crime. It's just because they don't have an alternative. So when you look at these all together, the best way to be able to create new knowledge that can devise solutions is through education, is through integrating it into the school curriculum. And so today, the NASARAWA State University, being the first university to have developed a new curriculum that integrate climate action solutions, simple actions, because what we are talking here is not complicated and sophisticated action. Simple actions of a solar dryer that young people can learn how to develop to help a mother in a village reduce food service losses, to ensure that you can dry a cassava, you can dry a vegetable, you can dry any food product, to help a youth learn how to develop a solar dryer. In addition to that, to turn waste, those agricultural waste, which we see every day, into fuel briquettes that replaces charcoal. That way, they're solving a problem in the environment. They are making money because they will now start selling to those who buy charcoal. They put money in their pockets, they help a mother dry food, they then put food on the table. So that was the lecture, but that lecture culminated in a very important point, which again, congratulations to NASARAWA State University for being the first in the continent to showcase this. What I said that ended the lecture was, we need passion at the individual level, because without passion, regardless of what you do, you might not be able to drive transformational development. Why do I say so? If you throw money on passionless citizens across Africa and even the world, nothing will change. But if people are passionate and they know that if I solve a problem, I turn a challenge into an opportunity, I can make money, I can solve a community problem, then we will see all the challenges we complain about: food insecurity challenges, health challenges, climate change challenges, environmental challenges. They will now start to present themselves as opportunities because we have the solutions. And so this climate action entrepreneurship curriculum and the center is actually what I call a gold mine for the continent, not only for Nigeria and even for the world.
How do you intend to preserve this?
Well, I am, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Suleiman Salah Mohammed, the most excited person today, representing the Vice Chancellor. Why? Because of the milestones we have recorded today. You see, we have the solar dryer donated to us by the UN Center. We have the curriculum that has been unveiled that incorporates climate action. We also have the center itself, the Abafosa Center, and all of this, NASARAWA State University is the first to have this. So we are most excited